Whatever. Okay. So, welcome back to the San Diego Bass Fishing Podcast. Today we have Tom Lowry, who is here on the heels of an unprecedented win at the City Council. And tell us what happened, Tom. This is your show.
My show. Um, yeah, well, let's document this. Today is what, June 23rd, right?
Yes.
June
Yep.
23rd?
No,
I don't know when I
25th.
don't know.
Wednesday the
Oh,
25th.
oh, what am I doing here? See, I'm already messed up.
So,
Wednesday, so June 23rd was the big day, was the big
right,
day.
right. Monday.
Yeah, man, listen, I'm like emotionally drained. This has been, it's been hard, dude. It was quite the experience. Let's put it that way. Quite the experience. But
Right.
uh, Rob McGargle and I were together on Monday down at City Hall when we learned our fate. And when we left, I looked at Rob and I said, "Man," I said, I would feel like a complete loser if we were leaving here today and we didn't win the vote and we didn't win. I would have felt, I would have been devastated, absolutely devastated. Um, but it turned out okay. It turned out okay, and I'm not devastated, and you know, um, I'm
Okay.
happy
So,
about the result. Yeah.
tell me what happened. Tell me what you guys did,
Oh gosh. Okay.
because
So
some people aren't going to know necessarily.
yeah. Okay. So for those of you that have been following, you know what's going on. For those of you that kind of like aren't, so on Monday, Monday was the San Diego City Council day to vote on the final budget. So a couple weeks prior to Monday, the city council put in their preferred, budget modification restorations. Okay. So the mayor did the budget. We know what the mayor's budget had. It had a bunch of cuts to the lakes, to the days on the lakes. And then the council has an opportunity to modify that, put in their modifications, which they did. And the lakes got put back in. And then it went back to the mayor. And then he vetoed a bunch of stuff, not just the lakes, but a bunch of stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
He
He took them.
vetoed
He
all
took them
these.
back out.
Yeah,
Took
yeah,
took them back out of the budget.
yeah. Um, and we were like devastated because we thought we had won the first round. But after the veto, we learned that the lakes are back on the chopping block. The council had 5 days to uh, override his vetoes, and so they get the final say. It goes back and forth, and then the city council has the final say, and they sign off on the final approved budget, whether the mayor likes it or not. Um, and so that was on Monday. And so between, the last 2 weeks has been intense, has been super intense.
Hmm.
Our consultant, Stephanie, did what we pay her to do, you know, and we advocated and we stepped up as a community, and you guys did, everyone sent emails and did statements, and we did a bunch of social media. Oh, but you asked me what happened. You asked me what happened. So what happened on Monday was Rob and I, Rob and I sat there. We went down for a press conference at 1 o'clock, and then the meeting was at 2, and we sat in the city hall council chambers, and we did public comment. We spoke, and a bunch of other people spoke on their behalf, on their, causes that they were
Hmm.
representing.
Right.
And they did the first vote. The first vote was for a full override. You can watch
Yeah.
all this online in your
Yeah.
all your spare time. the first the first
That's all right.
vote was, yeah. So the first vote was a full override, basically to say, to just completely delete
Yeah.
all the mayor's vetoes. and that
Right.
failed. And that failed.
Yeah.
Completely overriding the mayor's veto failed. Um, because some council members agreed with the mayor, because
Mhm.
this city's really upside down on money. You know, we don't have to get into all the reasons why, and you know, blah blah blah. This is only a 1 hour show, not a 4 hour show. Um, but some of the council members agreed with the mayor's vetoes. Okay, so the first vote failed, and then we got really nervous. But then they had a plan B and a plan C, supposedly. So plan B, council member Foster, which is the budget chair for the council, proposed and made a motion to adopt a partial veto. I'm
Mhm.
sorry, a partial override. So basically accept some things and then give up some things. Well, the lakes were in the list to accept. So keep in mind,
Okay.
Murray and Miramar were saved. What made you
Right.
laugh? Why are you laughing?
Right. Well, just because it's Murray and Miramar. Like
Yeah, Murray and Miramar were saved this whole time. They were already in. They were in all proposals, right?
right.
And so that was really a blow, and that was really like unfortunate.
Hmm.
Um, and we can get into the reasons why later in the show, but in the final vote, the amended override, I guess you could call it, all the lakes were put in there, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so when I got up and spoke to the council, when it was my turn to speak to the council, I made sure that I mentioned all 9
Yeah.
lakes, right?
Yeah.
I said, you know, we're here on behalf of Friends of the San Diego Lakes, not just 2 lakes, all 9 lakes.
Yeah.
So, um, and council member Marnie Van Wolpert, she clarified for us, hey, the second proposal includes all of the lakes, right? My friends of the lakes are here. She pointed to us in the crowd. It was awesome. And this includes all 9 of the lakes, right? Yeah, yeah, yeah. And then they had the vote, and it was 6-3, and we had to get 6. We had to get 6 out of the 9, and we got the 6.
Okay.
And we got it. We got it. So full restoration, no days cut. So that chart that I've been sharing that had, like, you know, LCAP going from 5 to 4, SAMV going
Yeah.
from 5 to 4,
Right.
Otay going from 3 to 2. Otay on Wednesdays would have been gone.
Yeah.
Wednesday
I
at
know.
Otay would have been gone. It would have been gone.
Yeah. Yeah. I know. It would have been a
Sutherland,
weekend.
Sutherland on Friday would have been
Yep.
gone. Would
No
have been gone.
kayaks, no float tubes on Friday.
Nope,
Yep.
gone, gone. LCAP, I
Hodge,
don't know, Monday or
Hodges.
Tuesday. Hodges on Wednesday would have been gone.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
So you know, when the votes came up and it was 6-3, I was just like blown away, you know. So
Thank God. Oh my gosh. I mean,
I
just
didn't have to
unbelievable,
leave a
right? Just
loser.
like, right, right, right.
Yeah.
I mean, you put so much time into this. You've started a GoFundMe. You hired a consultant who got all this in line, who spoke to the council members personally. She got us on the news. I mean, how important were the news programs? You said
Yeah,
those were
man.
strategically important. They were infinitely important. Important.
Yeah. Yes. Thank you for asking about that. So, man, those last 5 days,
Hmm.
yeah, those last 5 days were critical. Critical.
Yeah.
So when we learned that the mayor vetoed, uh, and we were headed for doomsday, um, we reached out to the reporters that we know, that Stephanie knows, that I know,
Hmm. Hmm.
and The first one to do the story was Juliet at Fox 5 News. And if you guys remember, she did the story last year.
Yep.
Juliet Vara did the story last
Yep.
year. Love Juliet. Love her. Um, she went down to Otay and interviewed Rob. And
Mhm.
then it's so funny, man. I think it was the very next day, CBS called. And then
Yeah.
the day after that, ABC called.
Yeah.
And yeah, that was pretty cool. That was pretty cool. But the CBS story at San Vicente with the junior anglers and Sean was a big deal. Was a really big deal.
Yeah.
And David Gotherson, I probably didn't say that right. Sorry, David. Did a great job.
Hmm.
Did a super great job
Hmm.
at telling the story. Um, yeah, man, it's like anything else. You get on TV, you get the awareness out there, and because they're not completely aware on what we do, on what this means to us, on these lakes are outdoor treasures. They're
Yeah.
outdoor treasures. Jim Brown will talk about this. They're outdoor treasures, right? And we've been fishing and boating on these lakes since 1913.
Mm.
Since 1913. If you go
Yeah.
to the City Lakes website, you go to the City Lakes website, it talks about that briefly, a little bit, a little
Hmm.
bit. And then it also talks about how they're drinking water reservoirs and recreation is allowed on them.
Right.
And we'll get into that in a minute. But yeah, the media coverage was huge. Those last 5 days was super important, and we rallied. The community rallied. Everybody, that got involved, that sent an email or made a phone call or wrote a letter. Thank you guys. You did what we wanted you to do,
Mm.
and we're gonna keep working on this. And I'll explain what I mean by that. But it's a good day.
Yeah.
Today's a good day.
Yeah. It always surprises me how, I mean, if it feels like when you post something on Facebook personally, that everybody's going to see it. And a lot of people do see it, but it always surprises me at how many people don't see it. And when you have to go through other avenues and not just Instagram or TikTok or YouTube or whatever, you still only have so much of a reach. And when you go outside of that box, then you're reaching a whole nother group of people that never even knew this was going on your little Facebook page.
Yeah.
Me personally, like,
Yeah. Yeah. So let's talk about that for a second. Let's talk about that for a second. So, you know, my efforts have been largely on social media to
mhm,
drive this, and for a few simple reasons. It's easy. Not well, it's not easy, but it's efficient. It's
mhm,
efficient.
mhm,
Like social media, Facebook, Instagram, I can reach a decent amount of people, right? I mean, we're all on there, a lot of fishermen, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, that's how business is done today, social
mhm,
media, right?
mhm.
Um, and it's efficient. I can do it from my house, whatever. But there's lots of other ways to do things also. But it works, and we've built a pretty good following. But to your point, there's not everybody's on there, and
Yeah.
there's thousands of lake users, and maybe they don't subscribe to the page or whatever, that don't follow the page
Mhm,
or whatever.
mhm.
So you run into people at the lake, and I heard they're closing the lakes. What's that all about? That kind of thing. So I want to take a few minutes, Bruce, to just quickly, I'll try to do this quickly, but for those viewers that are not really familiar with this issue, that have been following it along, can I go back to the beginning and just kind of explain how
Absolutely.
the lakes are? Okay.
Yeah. And it's not only an hour. And if we go too far, we can cut it in two pieces or whatever. But just it's a podcast, so knock yourself out. Let
Yeah.
me have it.
Yeah. Yeah. So we kind of, yeah, we kind of
Start
did
from
the,
Start from the
Yeah.
beginning.
Yeah, we kind of started at the end. Now I'm going to go back to the beginning a little bit. And just to
Hmm.
remind everybody too, even if you've heard this before, just to remind everybody. So we have 9 San Diego City lakes in San Diego. When I say in San Diego, some of those are in the city proper, Miramar, Murray. I guess Otay's kinda, um, Hodges kinda, but many of them, Sutherland, El Caps, San Vicente, Marina. Well, Marina's not a city lake anymore because it's ran by the county. Anyway, we have 9 San Diego City lakes. If you go to the San Diego City Lakes website, there's 9 of them on there. Barrett, um, and some of those lakes are in the county. The lakes are ran and managed by the PUD, Public Utilities Department. Okay. The Public Utilities Department within the city of San Diego. Why? Not Park and Rec, not county.
Right.
The city runs the lakes because they're all about the water. The San Diego City Lakes is emergency water, drinking water reservoirs. Okay. Water reservoirs. They test the water. They draw out of the lakes and send the water to water treatment plants. And they go to our tap and toilet and hotels and businesses. And we're allowed to fish on our lakes. Okay. And we have been since 1913.
Mm-hmm.
Back in the way, before my time, I guess City Park and Rec did run the lakes for a bit, way back
Right.
when, way back when. Uh, but it went, full city. So anyway, um, so the City Lakes budget is under San Diego, and there's two funds, the general fund and the enterprise fund. The enterprise fund is about the water and the water ratepayers and the water rates. And the general fund is all the monies that manage the permit money and the lake money and the staffing money. But there's a lot of other stuff in the general fund also, right? And so I don't want to get into all the economics of it, but it's pretty complicated. And yeah, it's pretty complicated. So all
So
right, so that's that.
the 1,500 last Wednesday we made $1,500 on Otay from guys going fishing, launching their boats, and it was like $1,500. That $1,500 goes into that general fund,
Yes.
right? Okay, and that's every day on every city lake. I think so, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
All the permit money, all the permit money, water contact money, kayak money, windsurfers at Hodges money goes into the general
Right.
fund.
Yeah. Okay.
But they can't make money on the lakes. That's the other thing. They can't.
Yeah.
Oh, this is where it gets complicated. And this is I didn't really
Because
want to go here, but the lakes can only be
because if they
they can
just
only
took in too much money, they could just respend it on the lakes, and then they wouldn't be spent making money on it,
Oh
right?
no, they can't take in they can't take in over 100%.
Yeah, I know.
It's
I know.
it's yeah, it's complicated. It's complicated. So, but we'll get into that in further podcasts because
Okay. Right.
I'll just say it now. There's a strong um need, I'll call it a need to take a look at how that works and make some changes to it. Council member Kent Lee said maybe we need to change the way we do things and the way we run things. And I would agree with that. I think there's some significant funding and policy changes, but that's for a later date and time.
Okay.
So I just want to paint the picture for the general person that's just,
Yeah. Yeah.
that thinks Park and Rec runs it, or, the state. These aren't state parks. We get no funding from the state. You know,
Yeah.
it's a city thing and it's under the city. And
Hmm.
maybe that needs to change also. Maybe that needs to change also. Okay, so fast forward.
Yeah.
Enough about that. So in 2019, the city had a budget problem, and they took a day away. If you remember, in 2019, they took a day a month. That first Friday of the month, second Wednesday of the month,
Yep.
second Friday of the month, one day from each lake.
Yep.
Everybody knows because everybody showed up to El Cap on that Friday that it happened to be closed and was like, oh shoot, forgot it was closed today.
Mm.
They did that in 2019 and we didn't even blink. Like we just took it.
Yep.
I mean, people were upset. People
I,
said,
I
what the
I
hell?
think it was kind of a surprise too, though. Like all
Oh,
of a
we didn't even
sudden,
know. We didn't even
yeah,
know.
all of a sudden there was a sign here saying, "Oh, well, we're going to start closing this because of budget cuts." It was like, huh? What? And then the next, like 2 weeks later, it happened. Like, oh, here we are. We lost a day.
Yeah.
That was when Chip got all upset, and Jim Slight was upset at Chip, and like internal arguing. But yeah, that it came as a surprise, if I remember correctly. Like,
Yeah. So, and we just kind of rolled with it. And hey, that's
yeah,
life, you know, I guess
right,
we just took it. We just took it. Right.
yeah,
And then COVID. And then we had COVID.
right,
And we all know what happened during COVID. They closed all the lakes, right? Oh, it's COVID.
yeah.
You know, we got COVID. You know, the lakes are closed.
We're wondering if we're going to get them back.
And that was really a wake up call. You know, that was really a wake up call. We rallied, and we created a group. We didn't create the Friends of the San Diego Lakes group. We created a different group, called it something else. We all had meetings. We all met together over at El Cajon Ford, and we got the lakes back open. And Faulkner was the mayor. I think Faulkner was the mayor at the time.
Kevin.
Yeah, and Steve Voss and Diane Jacobs helped us a little bit. Um, but it was after that. It was after that where you know we learned a lot of lessons during that,
Hmm.
and we didn't do much right away. Um, and then you and I and Dave Seberg talked a lot about, forming a group and keeping, working on the lakes and blah blah blah. And then wham, 2023. 2023, they tried to do it again, right? Budget cuts. They wanted to close El Cap for a month, Sutherland for a month, and open Hodges later in the year. So basically,
Yes, right.
delay Hodges for a month, right?
Yeah,
This is
yeah.
2023 going into 2024, I believe, right?
Yeah.
Or was it this year? Yeah, yeah, that's about right. So that's basically when I started the Friends of the San Diego Lakes, right? And me,
Yeah.
what?
No, 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 that's right. I was trying to remember the timeline.
I know I'm
And
probably a
when
little
they were trying to, yeah, they were trying to close it during the winter. We were going to lose it for January,
right.
and we had to come up with $60,000. So yeah,
Sixty
you're right.
thousand dollars. Yeah,
You're
sixty
right.
thousand.
And it surprised me that it only took $60,000 to keep the lakes open at that time. And they were talking about a month, closing it for a month, one
And it
of the
was only
lakes. And
three,
then,
and they picked three lakes. They picked three
yeah,
lakes in the county.
right.
That what does that tell you? Hello. So my timing might be off a little bit, but that's pretty accurate. And then
Hmm.
me and you and Dave Seberg had breakfast.
Hmm.
Me and you and Dave Seberg had breakfast, and then we had another breakfast, and then we had phone calls. And we worked on that, and we got Joel Anderson's office involved, and we
Yeah.
campaigned and we sent letters. We did a lot of the stuff that we did this year. Just this time around, we did a lot of the stuff. The same thing. And the county ended up bailing out the city. We didn't even get the city to turn. We did
No,
not get the city to turn
no,
on that,
they voted against us.
and we got the money from the county.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that was a big deal. People, we had kind of this similar situation. The community stepped up. We rallied. We campaigned. I sent, thousands of posts on Facebook, public comment, blah blah blah. And then we did, and then here we are again this year. And this year it got much bigger. It got much bigger this year because the city continues to decline and continues to be underwater budgetarily,
Right.
which is
Right.
a whole nother set of problems. But the mayor, you know, basically was like, we're underwater. We got to make drastic cuts. And so this year the cuts were significant. And for the first time in the last several years, Lake Miramar and Lake Murray were on the chopping block and got
Right.
included in the cuts,
Right.
right? And so
That was
guess what that did?
that was
Um,
that was the that was the straw that broke the that awakened everybody in those in there. I mean, all the people that live around those lakes and use those lakes, all of a sudden they like what? They like woke up,
and the
right?
reason
What were
why
you
they
gonna say?
included, no, you're on the right track. They woke up. And the reason why they included, so this year, now we've gone through history and here we are today. This year it was Miramar, Murray, and then all the lakes I mentioned.
Hmm.
Close more days. Close more days to
Yeah.
save $650,000. Six hundred fifty
Right.
thousand dollars here, a million here. You know, arts and culture, Office of Equity, fire pits, 100 grand here and there. It was like a $4 or $5 million. I don't know what it was, but they're desperately trying to find more money. So and Miramar and Murray were going to go from 7 days a week to weekends only. How about that?
Yeah. Yeah, to two. Yeah,
Yeah.
weekends only. Yeah, they were getting significant cuts.
How about that? Hey, Macy, come here. Close my door. Close my door. Thank you. My daughter just got home. Um, and that just woke people up, man, freaked them out. And so, even more, Council Member Raul Campillo
Right. Who
represents. Go ahead. You say
Lake
it.
Murray. He represents Lake Murray. Lake Murray
He
is in his district.
represents all of his constituents that vote for
Yeah.
him
Yep.
live around Lake Murray.
Yep.
So he got very interested in our issues. Marnie's very interested and a supporter of us up at Hodges, um, and Miramar. Um, so yeah, but the problem this year that's much bigger, much more significant, much more desperate for the mayor to save more money, right? So
Right.
we were in for a big battle. And so it was recommended to me to hire professional help, and I did. So we contracted with Pacific Public Affairs, and I started to raise money. So in April, when we learned about all this, we got Stephanie with Pacific Public Affairs on board. I started raising money, and everybody stepped up, and we've built a huge coalition of members. So if you're involved in that coalition, you know everything what I'm talking about. If you're
Mhm.
not, you don't know what I'm talking about, but you're finding out. Um, and I'm gonna tell you how to follow us and get involved and stay involved, because we're not done. We're not done. I want to grow this thing bigger. I want to work on other things. Um, and we'll get into that in a minute. But yeah, the GoFundMe page took off. I mean, it's still active, by the way.
Yeah.
And we're doing good. We're doing good.
Yeah. Yeah. You got to gear up for next year. Yeah. Got to start got to start fundraising for next year. I know that's not even funny. It's 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 not. It's really not. So, what are you doing to grow the Friends of the Lakes?
Um, it's you know it's amazing. It's growing by itself, you know.
Sure.
Um, because it's been super active and this issue's been a super hot topic and super active. But
Mm-hmm.
I'll share what we're doing. Um, um, but I wanna address what you just said. We got to gear up for next year. I want to make a comment on that. You know,
Yeah, go ahead.
we are halfway through this year. And oh, by the way, I think it's super important that people know something. Fiscal year 2026, I hope I'm saying this right. Well, let me not say it that way. If these changes would have took effect, guess when they would have happened?
Not in June of next year.
July 1st of this year.
So in 2 weeks
In two
they would have
weeks.
start they would have started
If
closing.
That's right. That's right. That's why you couldn't get Barrett tickets. That's why they put a freeze on Barrett tickets temporarily.
No kidding. Oh wow. They couldn't sell any more Wednesdays.
That's right. Those closed days
Oh
would have
yeah.
happened starting July 1st.
Oh wow. Yeah,
Yeah.
for some reason I thought it was like I thought it was January 1st or maybe next year, like in June, it was going to
Yeah.
start. But no, it starts
So
this month, next month.
so
Wow.
so when you say gearing up for next year, like they're already going to start working on the budget for 2027. Okay.
Okay.
And so, you know, it comes quick. It comes quick and it happens quick. And so there's no time to rest, you know. So we're gonna keep this going. So I got flooded with calls. I mean, I want to share this with everybody because it's pretty neat. I got a phone call from the ASA, American Sport Fishing Association, head guy.
That's a big
Um,
one.
yeah, I mean, go to ASA. Oh, geez, I'm
They're
gonna
they're
say it
they're
wrong.
they're Florida, right? That's from Florida. Those guys.
They're nationwide, nationwide,
Yeah.
nationwide.
Yeah.
Go to their website. Everybody go to the ASA's website. It's like asafishing.org or shoot, I forgot. But it's ASA, American Sport Fishing Association. He called me and he wanted to know what's going on. And you know, they primarily work on the saltwater stuff.
Right.
Uh Man, they're big, big, big. I mean, they do legislation, they meet with governors and senators and they go to Sacramento. I mean, this is like big, big, big time stuff. But they work on freshwater causes too, and they have different campaigns. Keep America Fishing. You might have heard of that. Keep America Fishing.
Mhm.
They want to partner with us. They've extended their help and support. Like he's like, we're gonna help you guys. I'm like, oh my God, this is great.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's pretty exciting.
Yeah.
I talked to Gary Andrews with the San Diego Bass Council. Um, there's some really specific things we need to do to get ourselves better organized and more effective.
Hmm.
Um, and so we're going to do that. I'll give you an example. It's no secret. So it's really important for us to build a database of people and I need to know where everybody lives
Right.
because there's this perception that all the fishermen that complain all the time, they live in the county. You know, they live in the county and they don't live in the city. And, you know, why should we listen to them? You know,
Right. Right.
um, we don't vote for those people.
Right.
We don't vote for the mayor. So I'm building a database and we're going to figure out where everybody lives so we can better advocate.
So Raul is not just worried about or let's see, how am I going to say this? Vivian knows how many people are using that vote for her, but using the lakes, that care about the lakes. So
I don't think she does. I don't think she
no, she
does.
doesn't.
That's what I'm.
But
That's what I'm
if
getting at.
there's 700 down there, or 500 bass fishermen that live in Vivian's territory,
Yeah, yeah,
that'll give
yeah.
that'll give you more horsepower
Yeah.
because
So
of those
things
are
like
her
that.
those are her voters,
Yeah, exactly. So things like
constituents.
that. And exactly. So let me take a moment and say something. We get a lot of suggestions from people and we get a lot of feedback from people, and I love it. Keep it coming. Keep it coming. Like, what about this? What about that? Why doesn't the
Mhm.
county do this? Why doesn't Park and Rec do that? Keep it coming. That's fine. All things are being considered, right? But know this, like, we have to work with what we've got right now. Like, yes, we have a lot that we want to do. Maybe get Park and Rec to take it over. Maybe the county take it over. Those
Right.
things it's going to take time. That's going to take a
Mhm.
lot of time, right? That's not easy to do. So right now, at this very moment, we have to work with the city council. And that's what Stephanie did for us. She worked
Mhm.
with the city council and she educated the city council on what we're all about and why this is so important and how the lakes work, and you know filled the gap between city council, the mayor, and the PUD's office, and built those alliances and partnerships, right, for us to even have a chance in hell of moving forward. And we did it, right? We did it. So we need to partner with them. They're not our enemies. We could be mad and angry and tell them they suck and they're assholes and all that stuff. You could feel that way, but at the end of the day, we have to work with them and we have to partner with them, and we have to form an advisory committee, which we're doing also,
Mhm.
and get them to meet with us on a ongoing regular basis. So we're not in the
So
same spot next year. So we're not in the same spot next year.
how feasible is that? How feasible is you getting people together and being able to go and meet with city council members or just their staff for that matter?
Well,
Can
it would
is
be their
Are you going to be able to do that?
it would be their staff. It would be their staff. But no, it's very feasible. It's very feasible,
Okay.
very realistic. I've sat across a desk from the deputy director of the PUD with you, Bruce, with you.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've sat across the desk of Joel Anderson.
Mhm.
I talked to the city council down at City Hall. It's very feasible. It's very feasible. You can't. They work for us. They work for us.
It's just okay. Yeah.
It's feasible. It's feasible.
Yeah.
So that's really what needs to happen and what we're going to do. Otherwise it's we're just reacting every year. Like, oh
Yes.
shit,
Right. You need to be
oh shit, we've
proactive.
got this problem. Yeah, we're just
Yep.
reacting.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah. Yeah. And then you're behind the eight ball.
So
You're behind it all.
Jim Brown said one day, you guys don't just go fishing. Everybody just went fishing.
That's what
Don't
happened the
just go
first time.
fishing and forget about this thing.
That's what happened in 2019. He was, yeah, I remember when he told me that too. It's like
You
everybody
guys
went
all just
fishing.
went fishing.
Yeah,
I you know
whatever.
I keep bringing up Jim because he's like behind the scenes now and all that stuff. Well, not really. He does a lot. He does a lot.
Yeah,
Um, but and he's got great ideas and big ideas. So we reference him and we use his knowledge a lot. But
yeah,
anyway, so that's what's going on. I hope this is helpful. I hope everyone listening and watching and is getting something out of this. Because I'm going to take this bigger. I'm telling you right now.
Okay.
And we're gonna need more people. We're gonna need more people. So I want to say something though. Rob McGargle. I want to give a shout out to Rob. He's been super instrumental.
Mhm.
We just kind of hit it off and clicked, and he's got the time, and he's very smart. Rob is very, very smart. And he works on this stuff a lot. He works on this stuff. We've had countless meetings with Stephanie, countless meetings with some city council staff that we are connected with. We have a once a month standing meeting with Joel Anderson's office and his staff, and they've been super helpful too. Not everybody realizes that, but they've made phone calls to the mayor's office on our behalf. And
Right.
Rob's covered me when I'm not available, and I cover him when he's not available. And you and Dave have helped a lot too. But we're gonna need more guys, and we're gonna need and girls, ladies. But we don't need 100 people. I mean, I need thousands of people supporting us and showing
Right.
their support and showing their support and doing what they do. But we're going to form an advisory committee because we have to. We have to.
Mhm.
Um, that's going to be a small group to work on this bigger stuff.
With the city
So that
council
yeah,
members,
and with
basically.
the ASA, and
Okay. Yeah. Right.
and that kind of thing. And then the funding, like go ahead, go
That's a
ahead.
good speaking of funding, that's a good segue of what my question was is like, is there any chance of grants in the future? Because I know in the past Jim Brown was instrumental in getting $20 million for the lakes. We haven't seen that in over 20 years since he's retired. Is there are is there a chance of maybe somebody going to the state and getting grants for the lakes to to help this situation?
Yeah, yeah. So the answer is yes. The answer is yes. And so some of those grants, City Lakes leadership, our friends, they are our friends. The City Lakes leadership, they apply for some of those grants. Uh, the bathroom on the dock at El Cap, that was
Hmm.
grant money. That was grant
Yeah.
money.
Right.
It's a great building. It's a great building. When there's a new floating restroom that gets
Yeah.
put on a lake, that's grant money. That's
Hmm.
grant money. So good for them. But we want a lot more. We want a lot more.
Sure.
And so this is what I'm getting at. Like we've got these outdoor treasures,
Yeah.
phenomenal fisheries, phenomenal outdoor playgrounds. They should be pristine. They should be
Right.
pristine. We should have a fabulous road at El Cap. Imagine if you're a family that has never been to El Cap before, but you heard about how great the fishing was, and you drive out there with your family in your minivan,
Yeah.
and you
Yeah.
drive to El Cap. Are you going to want to come back?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, it's the
Are
road's
you going
terrible.
so, they should be phenomenal
They should be.
areas of recreation.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah. And
so
I think the county's doing a great job at Lake Morena with that kind of thing.
go out. Yeah. So listen, all of these things that we're discussing is what I and the Friends of the San Diego Lakes cares about
Mhm.
and what we want to work on. What we
Yeah.
want to work on and what we're going to work on. But we have to keep them open first. We have to keep them open first.
Yeah. Well, see, that's where it comes into being proactive, instead of waiting for the reaction, waiting for our reaction to their action, is being proactive and going forward with it and knowing what's going to happen in the future, what they're planning on in the future, so you can do something about it before there's an issue. And then going a step further and trying to make improvements on it.
So, and that's going to take money. And let's talk about money for a second. So, we're going to raise more money. We need to raise more money. Okay.
All
So,
right.
that the GoFundMe is not going away. I don't know. Maybe it expires or something. I might need to start a new one. I've never done that before, but it's working. And we're going to keep raising money. We're number one. We're going to look into the grant stuff. Number two. Okay.
Yeah.
There's a lot of money out there. We're going to look into it. So if you're watching, if you're listening, if you have a special set of skills, if you're well connected, if you know people in high places, you need to call me. You need to call me if you want to get involved at a
Yeah.
higher level. And if you don't, that's fine too. That's fine too. You know, I can only handle so much, but we're going to go through it. Like, my door is open, my phone is on. I want to hear from you.
Yeah.
I mean, let's see. Maybe I'll change my mind someday, but not right now. Like right now, I'm all in, dude.
Yeah. Yeah. Good.
So we're gonna work. We're gonna do that. And we're gonna see where this goes. So if you're wondering where you can watch, learn, get involved, Facebook, Friends of the San Diego Lakes on Facebook, Instagram, Friends of the San Diego Lakes on Instagram. My personal page, Tom Lowry Fishing. I'm not hard to find. I'm not hard to find. But we don't have a website. We don't even have a website. Okay. But maybe someday. And then we're
Yeah.
going to work with the Bass Council. We're going to grow the database of members. We're going to have some special events too. So we're going to do a special event. Um, so all that's coming. All that's coming.
Make sure that I'm sure you will. I mean, it's not going to be a secret, but San Diego Bassmasters will be very willing to help out with your special event. Whatever you need, the people wise, effort wise, we'll be there. We
I
will be
love
there
that.
for
See,
sure.
that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm
Yeah.
talking about right there. Right there. So if you're a guy like Bruce and you have some support like what he just said, you need to call me. I want to hear from you. And by the way, thank you to everybody that did. I mean, man, we got people stepped up. Business owners wrote me checks.
Yeah. Yeah.
The Bass Council gave $500. The business owners, Anglers Marine, East County Bait and Tackle, Dana, uh,
Yeah.
Dark Castle
Dana.
Marine, Anglers Arsenal. If I forgot somebody, I'm sorry. They wrote me checks, man. And the GoFundMe people, like, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm still getting GoFundMe. I think we're over $8,000 now.
Yeah.
So thank you. That's what it takes. But yeah, we're gonna have some special events, and I'm absolutely gonna take you up on that offer. We're gonna
Oh yeah.
we're gonna
Oh
need the
well,
help.
you know us.
I know.
You
Yeah,
you know you know who's in the club. Like, and we'll get it taken care of, and we'll drag more people with us.
yeah, yeah. So I hope that was helpful. I mean, we could stay on and like talk about some more stuff. Follow us, reach out to me.
Hmm.
I'm trying to think of what else I can share. Oh, I'm gonna be. I got invited to come to the Bass Council meeting
Mm.
on next Wednesday, I guess, or the first Wednesday of the month or something.
First Wednesday of the month. Yeah.
So I'm going to come out to the Bass Council meeting and talk to everybody and answer questions and stuff.
Okay.
So I'll be there at that, and Gary Andrews and I are hooked up, and he's going to let everybody know and all that
Yeah. To
stuff.
bring their rosters. If I'm pretty sure the Bass Council has rosters already. They have every roster, but they should probably just bring their current roster of people and what their zip codes are anyway.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, so I'll be there for that.
Cool. I'll try to make it. I haven't been to a council meeting this year, so I probably ought to
And
show
hey,
up.
yeah, please come. Oh, and hey, it's no secret, it's public because it was announced at the ECBT TOC. I'm going to plug something right now. We're
Yeah.
having the alcohol we're having the
Yeah.
alcohol for 2-day tournament. Uh Friends of the Lakes is a sponsor, but John Blake is having the alcohol for 2-day tournament. American Bass is going to run it. All the companies I mentioned, all the local shops are going to are sponsoring.
Hmm.
Uh, ECBT, Anglers, Arsenal, Anglers Marine, Dark Castle, everybody. So excited about that. The Elko and Ford 2-day. We didn't have it last year.
When is it?
Um, and by the way, this is the Jim Slide Paul Leader Memorial now.
Right.
Jim Slide Paul Leader Memorial. So it's the least we could do to honor them, right?
Absolutely. Yep. 100%.
Um, it's going to be announced the dates. It's going to be the end of August, but the final
20,
dates are
25th and
the.
26th.
It's going to be announced this week. It's going to be announced this week in a flyer, but it's right now at this moment it's August 25th, 26th. Okay,
Monday, Tuesday.
Monday, Tuesday.
That
We
kind of
got the link.
confused. That's confusing some people that are new to the whole 2 day and they're not used to what it had been in the past. In the past, it was always during the week, and then Jim switched it up to the weekends to try to get more people. But now it's going back to during the week, so Monday, Tuesday.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, that
yeah.
way.
So
That way,
yeah, we want.
we if it's at San Vicente and Lower Otay, we miss the Saturday, Sunday wakeboarders at San Vicente, and we get Otay for 2 days with just the contestants, right?
Yeah, yeah, and San Vicente will be much nicer to fish.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
At the moment, it's San V Otay because we don't know about the water level out cap. At the
Right.
moment, it's that. Okay.
Right.
Super excited about that tournament. I love that tournament. It's a great event. We didn't have it last year. Super bummed we didn't have it last year. We want to get 50, 60 boats. Like, let's do it, and I think we got a lot of interest during the week. So mark the calendar, August 25th, 26th. Take it off. There's going to be an off limits too. There's going to be an off limits that weekend. No, there,
Are you sure?
no, there
Is it gonna
is.
is it gonna
There
be
is.
worded properly?
Oh, Jim. Yes.
So I would
Yes.
hate to get disqualified for that. Me
Listen,
personally.
listen. It's going to be. It's. It's
We were
going to
on them
be.
too.
It's going to. It's going to be explicitly called out the exact off limits. Okay.
Yeah. All right. Cool. Good.
The
Good.
exact off limits.
And what do you win? We haven't talked. What's the prizes?
Guaranteed $10,000 first place.
There it
Guaranteed
is.
$10,000 first place,
There it is. Cool. Good.
and a bunch of other money. Bunch of other
Oh
money.
yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
if you fish the 2-day before, you know you know what it pays. If you haven't fished the 2 day before, get your partner and come fish it because it pays out. You could win 10
Yeah.
grand. It
Yeah.
pays out. You get big stringer money,
Yeah.
big fish money, badass trophy, prizes, and it's just the best tournament we have in San Diego. I mean, come on.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
Like you win
absolutely. Like
that thing, it's I've never won it. I wish I got a third once.
I was gonna say, you've placed in it though. You've done well.
I mean, we won a day. I've won a day, one of the days. I've never won the whole tournament though. I'd love to win it.
Right. Yeah.
So mark the calendar for that. More to come. Flyers coming out soon. Um. So yeah, man, this has been good. Thanks for having me on, and I hope it was good for people. And yeah,
Yeah. Well, thank you for all the effort that you and Rob put in to this. Friends of the Lakes, keeping the lakes open, going to the city council, everything that you do, lots of hours spent, and you're laying it out there for us, and we are the recipients of it, and we appreciate it, to say the least. I appreciate it. It was a bad thing around our house. I was in a very dark place when Todd Gloria came out this year with that new budget proposed, and he only had Miramar and Murray on there, and he cut the other lakes. I was not happy, and unfortunately, my wife had to take the brunt of that. So she thanks you. I thank you for all the effort that you've done, and all the bass fishermen, all the outdoors enthusiasts, all the bird watchers, all the kayakers and wakeboarders, and everybody. There's not just bass fishermen involved in this. There is just so many more people that use these lakes, and thank you for that. Thank you for keeping them open for us.
you're welcome. You're very welcome. And you're right. You're right. Like, all the people that walk Murray and campaign to save Murray. That's how we feel about El Cap. That's how
Yes,
we feel. It's
right.
exactly
Yep.
how we feel. So I think I think our government, well, I not I think, I know. I know they know that now. they
Right. It's yeah, their eyes
they know
are
that.
being open to it. I know in the past, I've said this too, is just 2 years ago, I heard that Jim Desmond, one of our county supervisors from past or whatever, but is still a prominent political figure, he didn't even know we had lakes out there, and he didn't know the city owned them, and he didn't know there was seven of them or nine of them. Like some of the city council members, just they don't even know that where the water comes on when they turn the water faucet on, or what they're used for. That we have these lakes. So yeah, you're putting a bug in their ear and letting them know. You're teaching them about what's going on with the water supply.
Yeah, speaking of water, like not to totally like go off the rails here, but let me clarify one thing that we talked about earlier before we end today.
Hmm.
If you're still watching and you're still hanging on, this is important too. I mean, we don't have unlimited water in our lakes, to drain to our, faucets, right? So we get water from the San Diego County Water Authority that comes from up north. But that water is very expensive now. And so the reason why they've been pulling water out of Sanvy, Otay, El Cap, and everywhere they can is because they don't want to buy water from the water authority anymore because it's too expensive. So they're supplementing with our water.
Hmm.
The water thing is a problem. That's a problem. And water rates and cost and this and that. So that's a whole nother thing. And maybe we can have an expert on that come on one of your podcasts and tell us, more. But yeah, I just wanted to throw that in there before we end today.
Sure. Yeah. And that would be a very good discussion. Totally. Because not all of us understand why our levels are going down, or why they're up, or why some of it gets shipped out to the ocean on certain on wet years and whatever. And I'm not chastising anybody. I'm just saying that this happens, and we don't understand why. So maybe that would be good. That would be good. You know,
Yeah. So
we have a lot of
I think it's
questions about
good.
water levels.
Yeah, yeah, and I know the person to come on your podcast and do it. So let's do that in the future
Okay, you got it. I'd love to have him or her.
for
Yeah,
sure.
there's a lot of questions that need to be asked.
And how the
Or
lakes are
that
connected.
yeah, that too.
I
I
mean,
used to have a map on my wall with all the aqueducts and the connections, what went where and what's able to go here and there. I don't know where. Oh, it's on the website. Oh, it was on Human's wall. I took a picture of it.
he gave it to us. Yeah, he
Yeah.
gave it to us.
Yeah, that's right.
Public utilities deputy director. One of them. One of them.
I'll have to
Yeah.
throw that in here and like put it in the podcast. Here it
There you go.
is. Yeah, it's quite interesting. You know, Sutherland goes to San V I think could go anywhere at this point, but El Cap can go to Jennings and Murray. Yeah,
Yeah, it's pretty
anyway.
interesting.
Yeah, it
So
is.
so we're in June. We're in June. It's gonna be July soon. Summertime. We got the big 2 day in August at the end of August, and then September till the rest of the year. There's some one bass pro-ams coming up, and then you know all the team tournament fishing stuff's going to start up again in the fall. So, or late fall, winter
Hmm.
time, or what.
Hmm.
So here we are.
Yep. Yep. All right. Well, thanks for coming on and explaining where you guys are at, and congratulations on the win.
Yeah, it was a good one. It was a good one. Feeling good at the moment. So
Yeah.
I hope it was good for everybody, and um, we'll keep it rolling.
Yep. All right.
Let's go fishing.
Yeah, you got it. I'll talk to you later. See ya.
All right.